Hi there everyone, this is Peter Sco from Music is a Journey. I am sitting here in a small classroom at work recording a video off my iPhone instead of my usual setup. It is kind of the first day back at work after a week-long holiday period. However, it is Friday and not much really happens here on a Friday. There were only two other people in here today and they both came in the morning, so they left by sometime in the mid-afternoon and I'm the only one sitting here today. So as I was doing my own preparation for my classes tomorrow and for the week to come, I was playing some videos off YouTube, and there's this thread going on now about the 10 albums that you listen to the most, which I kind of got interested in doing. But actually, I'll do that one at home at the desk as usual. The video that I decided to do today while I'm sitting here in this classroom, I think the acoustics are not so great for recording a video. But anyway, it's a video on 5 bands or artists anyway that you don't own any albums of. Now there's a little bit more detail to it. First of all, these should be pretty big name people. It shouldn't be, you know, small local bands somewhere, because yeah, obviously hundreds of thousands of those I don't have. But there should be someone who has at least played to a sold out. I think the criteria was a 20,000 seat arena or venue. This comes from the YouTube channel Alltheworldsastage. The guy there, Steve, we've been subscribed to one another now for a few months, and he has a great channel. He makes, you know, videos of reasonable length, unlike me. Recently he started a series of videos on the kind of peak output period of a band, looking at 5 years, where he felt during that 5-year period they put out their best albums or his favorite albums. So he's done Led Zeppelin, he's done Queen, and he's done the Moody Blues so far that I have seen. And he's got tens of bands to do, so he'll probably get up there pretty quickly. It's also interesting because those videos kind of parallel my own. I started this series this year back in January on the first 10 years of a band. The first 10 albums of a band, and you know, looking at basically from the release of the first album and then looking at the next, you know, up to 10 albums from that. And I've done a few bands myself. But anyway, Alltheworldsastage, yeah, that's right. So 5 bands or 5 artists that you don't own any albums of that have played to or sold out up to like 20,000 seat arena. Now, I honestly don't know the details of this, so I'm just going to pick artists that I think probably have sold out 20 seat arenas. I don't know if they sold out, you know, maybe they did more. But as I was making the list, I realized that there are some prominent bands I actually have an album, or I had an album, and just never really got hit with the wow factor, right? So actually, I'm gonna start my list with 5 of those and then get into the 5 where I've just never touched the catalog. Okay, so 5 bands where I've had an album or have an album. Sorry, Steve, I'm gonna mention these first just because they're big names that I know a lot of people are really into. First one on my list is the Ramones. I think any YouTube channel I've watched where people are talking about their vinyl collection or the music collection, pretty much everyone loves the Ramones. In fact, I think the only person I know who doesn't love the Ramones is my best friend who was never into punk rock in the first place. You know, the Ramones, big name in punk rock history, big name in 70s rock history, big name in rock history, right? Sure, great. I like to watch a video, I watch a documentary, great, cool guys, all that. I love it, but I just can't get really like wow into the music, you know. I like that song, I Want to Be Sedated. I bought the album Road to Ruin. I liked the song I Want to Be Sedated. The rest of the album just kind of, you know, went past me and I ended up selling it off again. Yeah, just didn't do it for me. Slipknot had their, I guess it was their 3rd album. 2 songs I really liked. The rest of the album didn't do it for me. Maybe I should have gotten the one, what is it, Iowa? Maybe I might have liked that one better, I don't know. But, you know, there are just so many bands and albums out there that I want to get, so you know, if I want to get a Slipknot album again someday, I better really want it, because there's just not enough money for what I want. There's not enough space at home to store everything I want. I am not touching Spotify. So anyway, Slipknot, System of a Down, you know, their album Toxicity is like one of the top metal albums of the 90s, and I thought, okay, I'll get it and see what all the fun's about. And I got it, and I've listened to it 2 or 3 times, but probably twice, and then maybe one song a couple of times more, and I just don't feel like I need to reach for it again. I'll probably get back to it someday. Same with Pantera. I mean, huge metal band of the 90s. Basically started the whole groove metal scene, or at least are they, you know, the flagship band of the groove metal scene. I bought, what was it, Vulgar Display of Power? Yeah, okay. I don't know, like, these are bands that I should be totally thrilled about, because they're exactly, you know, in my scene, and they're at the forefront and leading the way for the particular period, and I just don't get that you know, that whoa, this is awesome feeling. And the other one I'm going to say is Fleetwood Mac. I was watching some people doing their 10 albums they listened to most, and a couple of them mentioned Fleetwood Mac. I don't remember what the album's called now. Looks like some kind of, like, I don't know, Renaissance drawing of a guy and a horse or something like that. I bought it because it included the track as a bonus track, Green Manalishi, which Judas Priest covered, and I really like the Fleetwood Mac original version. I also found it had that, what's it called now? Hey, or Hey Man, or Oh Hey, or, oh shoot, I forget the title now. But anyway, a metal band I like called Tourniquet, they covered that song. So when I heard the Fleetwood Mac version, I was like, wow, this is the original, that's cool. The rest of the album doesn't do anything for me, and I just haven't felt like I need to get into Fleetwood Mac. All right, so that's bands that I had an album or have an album, and they just didn't get me, but they, you know, they're big name bands. Now, see my videos, do not stay short. Now we get into the real thing. These are 5 bands, or 5 artists anyway, that are pretty big, and I don't own anything, and I never have owned anything. So we're gonna start with Soundgarden. And I don't know, you can take Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots, whatever. The only band I ever bought in the whole grunge scene was Nirvana, and I see them as being different from the other guys. Now, would I not like Soundgarden? Probably I would like some of their songs. I'm sure if I bought some albums and gave them my attention, I'd probably find something about them I like, but I've just never felt there's been anything that I've heard that made me think, wow, I really got to get this. So Soundgarden are one of them. Green Day, yeah, it was close. I rented a couple of Green Day CDs here in Japan, probably about like 20 years ago. There were a couple of songs I really liked. There was one I remember where they say something about, I was a young boy who had big plans, now I'm just a shitty old man. I thought that was a really funny song. I liked that one. But I never really felt like I had to get an album. They have some songs that I think are pretty good, but again, I just don't feel that I need to have a Green Day album in my collection. Go figure, I don't know. Next one that came up, Foreigner. I don't know, like Foreigner, what have I got? I've got a lot of those late 70s, what are they called? Arena rock or album-oriented rock bands. And I like, you know, I don't love them, but I like the albums I have. But even though Foreigner were really big when I was kind of just starting to get into music, I remember Jukebox Hero, I still have never felt that I needed to have a Foreigner album, which is weird. And you can put REO Speedwagon next to that. You know, my very first cassette, Rock 82, a compilation of songs basically from 81, included Take It on the Run by REO Speedwagon, which I think is a great song. But a couple of years back, I thought I should check out the rest of REO Speedwagon's catalog, and I read their Wikipedia article, and I thought, yeah, maybe there's something there for me. But I don't know, maybe the timing just wasn't right. You know, sometimes it's just the timing has to be just right. Something makes that spark, and you buy an album, and then you think, this is actually really good. I've got to get more. And then you go and buy more, and next thing you know, you got to have the whole catalog. That has happened to me with bands that I never had an interest in for decades. Styx is one of them. Yes is another. But yeah, REO Speedwagon, Foreigner, anyway, never felt that I really needed to have an album of theirs. David Bowie. Now, I recognize David Bowie is probably one of those artists out there either you like or you don't. But there are just so many people out there in the you know, music collecting, not just vinyl collecting, but music collecting communities. People that I know on the internet who are musicians, who, you know, I've talked about, I've introduced their albums in previous videos. David Bowie is just such a big name, and, you know, what a creative genius. Sure, yeah. And, you know, what an impressive catalog over so many years. Sure, yeah. But it's just never really, I don't know. I haven't heard any song that made me think, yeah, I've really got to have that in my collection. I think I even borrowed Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders of Mars, the Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. I borrowed that album on CD from my public library way back in the 90s, and I brought it back again. And the last one, I'm leaving this one for last because this is a band I probably could get into if I find the right door. That is Ghost. So recently I'm really into a band called Blood Ceremony, album video about those guys coming up soon. And when I search for like t-shirts or something online, I keep finding Ghost t-shirts, probably because Ghost had a song or an album called Blood Ceremony, I don't know. But a really good friend of mine told me a few months back that he now suddenly really got into Ghost after never having any interest in them before. And now he's, you know, he does, what is it, Spotify or Apple Music or something. So the whole library is in my iPhone now, okay. I heard a song, I thought it was pretty good, but it was one of those songs where I felt I can listen to it 4 or 5 times and then I'm going to lose interest. You know, that happens a lot. You hear it, wow, it's a great song. You listen to it a few times, yeah. And then after that, it's like, I'm done with it. So that was my one impression of Ghost. I've probably heard a couple of other like bits and pieces, but I just haven't been drawn in. However, given the style of music that Ghost plays, it's possible I could become interested, at least to have an album or two, I don't know. But at the moment where it stands, no Ghost. Okay, so those are my 5 artists carrying on the thread of All the World's a Stage. Hi, Steve. Those are the 5 artists that I have just never owned an album of, but who are, you know, quite big, I would say. And a bonus of 5 artists who are also quite big, where I have an album or had an album and just never got into it. Okay, that's it. This video is already getting long. Thank you for watching. See you again in another video. Cheers, everyone. Bye.